Episode 1 is pretty good at setting up the world and tone of the series. We're introduced to Eren, Mikasa, and Armin. And right off the bat, the action kicks off when a thick, big booty titan kicks the wall, allowing other titans in, and ultimately killing the baddest MILF in AOT. So it's going on the A tier, not the best episode, but a very solid, strong first impression. It certainly grabbed me by the nuts and kept me captivated. Episode 2, we see the rest of the titan invasion and some really cool moments. And although the second half is less action-paced, we do see a time skip at the very end where we see new characters such as Reiner, Bartola, Sasha, and more. B tier. The episode is good, not as good as the first one, but still very solid. Episode 3 is where we dive balls deep with the cadets, learning more about each of them as they undergo training. Nothing interesting really happens besides a horse falling in love. C tier, the episode is just average. Episode 4, we learn about everyone's strengths and weaknesses and get familiar with the cast. Also, the last 2 minutes of the episode was Chef's Kiss and made me bust the fattest nuts of 2013. Definitely B tier, it was so unexpected to see Thickums return. Episode 5 is where I realized nobody's safe. Mina gets clapped, Eren loses his arm and leg, and Armin is having a meltdown worse than a Karen when she don't get her McNuggets. And I was loving it. This episode was phenomenal and I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was like watching Game of Thrones all over again. Before it turned to pussy shit. Let's go baby! A tier episode, this was worth 23 minutes of my life. It was truly an insane episode. Episode 6 is a Mikasa backstory episode, but it is filled with key moments. And 2 9-year-olds murdering grown men. B tier, this was a pivotal moment for Eren and Mikasa's character growth. Episode 7, we see that humanity had lost the balls to fight back against the Titans, and I can't blame them, but at least go out like a G. Also, Mikasa learns about Eren's death and a giant Titan built like Dwayne Johnson's ass cheek shows up. Definitely C tier. Episode 8 was a nice surprise. John acts like a leader, Armin comes up with a sick plan, and we learned that the Titan was actually Eren. B tier, we saw a few characters grow a pair of balls, and seeing Eren as a Titan was a good surprise. Episode 9, we meet humanity's strongest midgets, along with the scouts. We also see a male Karen that has no type of logical sense. I'ma be honest, this man looks like he's constantly shoving cocaine up his butthole. Even when Eren tries to explain that he is human, the dude's in denial, just like a flat earth person. I'ma put this on the F tier, this episode is just easily forgettable. Episode 10 is where Armin truly shines and becomes Chadman. C tier episode, not the best, but definitely like his character growth. Episode 11 is where we're formally introduced to Commander Pixis, and he also tells his troops that they'll retake the wall using Eren. We also meet the ugliest dude in AOT, Daz. I'm sorry, but I had to say it, he is one ugly motherfucker. I would rather get pegged before seeing Daz on my screen again. Anyway, C tier, the episode is easily forgettable, but Pixis' speech is just top tier. Episode 12, Eren tries punching Mikasa, then he punches himself. Not gonna lie, kind of anticlimactic, but that's the whole episode in a nutshell. So, F tier. Episode 13, Eren seals the hole, and humanity wins their first victory against the Titans. We also see that Marco's now half the man he used to be. Definitely C tier, it's an aftermath episode, and they killed my boy Marco off screen. Episode 14 is just Levi treating Eren as if he was Amber Heard. Most definitely C tier, it just made all the females wet. And the gays. Episode 15, we see how horny Hanji truly is for the Titans, as she experiments on Sunny and Bean. F tier, this episode is quite forgettable, the only cool thing about this are the memes. Episode 16, we see the main cadets join the scouts, and even though it's pretty much a death wish, the balls on these boys and girls is remarkably immaculate. Definitely B tier, I loved every single moment, from the music to John's character growth. Everything about this episode was just chef's kiss. Episode 17, a scout expedition goes wrong when a female Titan shows up and murders a bunch of the scouts. But luckily, Armin and the boys get to admire her thick, juicy Goliath ass. I'ma be honest, I would eat shrimp off that booty. Like, B tier, it was definitely exciting and had me at the edge of my seats, and the female Titan gave me a newfound muscle booty fetish. Episode 18, the female Titan continues to massacre the scouts as she heads to the forest. Oh, and Reiner is horny for Krista. C tier, we just got a few expositions on why the female Titan is here and what's Erwin's game plan. Episode 19 is just Levi's squad trying to outrun the female Titan. F tier, it felt like a Naruto episode with all those flashbacks. Episode 20, the scouts use BDSM equipment to capture the female Titan. Scared shitless, the female Titan starts shitting herself. B tier, it was on the slow side of things, but the last 5 minutes almost made me bust heavy nuts. Episode 21, Levi's squad faces the female Titan. Gunther becomes a bobblehead, Eldo gets eaten like a gummy bear, and Olu gets slapped harder than Chris Rock. but I gave no fucks at all until Petra became part of a tree. Then I started crying. Let's go, baby! S tier, this solidified what AOT is, a roller coaster of emotions with amazing action scenes and lives at stake at all times. Bruh, it was so good I started having an asthma attack midway, just from seeing two naked giants throwing hands. Episode 22, we see Levi and Mikasa take on the female titan in order to retreat. Hey yo, what the fuck? Definitely B tier, the episode was well balanced between action and dialogue, and it was the first time we saw B-Blade Levi. Episode 23, we're introduced to Marlowe, a man who becomes a victim and witnesses the corruption of the military police. But if you ask me, the real victim here is the hair. But that's besides the point because we go balls deep into it when the scouts attempt to lure Annie in a confined space, thus revealing that she is in fact the big titty titan. A tier episode, the tension between Eren, Armin, Mikasa, and Annie just kept on building. And the reveal of the female titan was so crazy, I called my girlfriend at the time to say, bitch, you won't believe it. Episode 24 is basically Eren having erectile dysfunction, but with him transforming. A tier episode, the animation and camera angles were insane. The way the scouts were out here stunning on the female titan was crazy. So I give Wit Studio props for eye fucking me with such epicness. Episode 25, we get Eren versus Annie round 2. Eren gets a random power up, so Annie starts to cry. All because she loses the power of plot armor, thus giving the scouts their second dub. A tier episode, it was a great finale, and after credit shot left me with more questions than answers. Episode 26 kicks off with a bang when we're introduced to Monkey, who ends up turning Mike into a Laffy Taffy. B tier, the episode was dark, gritty, and gruesome, and Mike's death was possibly the most horrific one yet on the show. Episode 27 highlights the best girl. Not you can go home. We see everyone's favorite potato girl putting in work as she saves a little girl from a titan. Definitely B tier, it was a beautiful Sasha episode, and I cried like a filthy whore from how courageous she was. Episode 28 is all over the place. Ymir starts being gay for Krista, Pastor Nick continues to be a thug and I share the info about the walls, cause he ain't no snitch 9, and Nanami steals my heart because, well, look at her, she's a whole ass meal. C tier episode, it was dialogue driven but very forgettable as a whole. Episode 29, we see the scouts clapping Titan cheeks. That is, until the Titans pull a Nuno reverse card. Panicking from letting Krista's pussy go, Ymir reveals herself as the Golem Titan. B tier episode, Reiner wrestled a Titan, Ymir kicked it off the castle, Krista played doctor, and Burrito stared at the camera. Episode 30 is pretty much a love story between two lesbians. Definitely B tier episode because you can't spell lesbian without the B. All jokes aside, it was a pretty balanced episode with action and some backstory on Ymir and Historia's friendship. Episode 31 was phenomenal. To sum it up, Reiner is going crazy for Cocoa Puffs, Barnacle Boy is shitting his pants, and we the audience get slapped with the most nonchalant reveal of all time. Let's go, baby! I'ma be honest, this was crazier than the ending of Onichichi. Every minute of this episode was a masterpiece. The tension, atmosphere, and the reveal of Reiner and Bartilla was so out of nowhere, I had to go back to make sure I read the subtitles correctly. I kid you not, this should be analyzed in literature class, because this makes Shakespeare look like a cuck. Episode 32, Eren and Reiner have a 1v1, while the scouts go at it with Barney. Another S tier episode, baby! This was an all battle. The camera work was once again fantastic, and I was at the edge of my seat watching this amazing battle unfold. Episode 33, Eren gets captured. Again. And Hannes starts reminiscing the good old days of when Eren was a little turd. C tier, it wasn't anything too amazing, but seeing Hannes back was a nice surprise. Episode 34, we see that Reiner has more problems than a McDonald's ice cream machine, and Baki reminds him that he isn't a soldier anymore. Definitely B tier episode, nothing crazy happens, but we learn a bit more of the world outside the walls. Episode 35, we learn about Ymir's past, as we see a timeline of her life, from orphan to queen, to the ugliest thing I've seen since my grandma's pinky toe. Now this may be biased and have some clouded judgment, but this episode is an S tier episode, baby! The music, storytelling, and overall theme and complexity of why Ymir wants to help Historia just spoke volumes. We also learned so much more of the world outside the walls, and Ymir's backstory was truly heartbreaking and yet so powerful. And let's not forget that OST, Call of Silence, slapped me across the face and made me tear up like a baby. Episode 36, the scouts chase after Ymir, Reiner, and Barto. They get so close to retreating Eren that Mikasa can sniff out his butthole amongst the frantic chaos. Easily an A-tier episode, the strategy and the way Erwin led the Titans to the enemy was ballsy, but not as ballsy as Erwin losing an arm and still leading his men. This man's balls are so big, he needs a wheelbarrow just to carry them. Episode 37, Hannes gets eaten by Matthew Gray. The scouts are once again getting the Uno reverse card treatment, and Eren and Mikasa are having a shoujo anime moment.
I could choose to fuck it up, hey, but I'll be loyal to you, baby. Hey.
B-tier episode, Hannes' death was foreshadowed a little too much and therefore his death wasn't really shocking. It's like making a fat kid decide between a pizza and a salad. Of course the fat fuck is going to choose the pizza, but if he chose a salad, that would be shocking. But sadly, Hannes was in the salad. Eren being the coordinator was kinda cool, but the icing on the cake was Historia. She put out the Just Dance combos on these Titans, and Barricades being played in the background was a certified banger. Episode 38, we go from clapping Titan cheeks to clapping each other as the military police are hunting down the scouts. C tier, it's a pretty slow episode, but seeing Levi go batshit crazy was pretty iconic. Episode 39, Levi straight up shits on the military police, Armin shoots someone to save a horse, and Eren and Historia are captured again, for like the 4th time. A tier episode, baby! The action and camera angles were just chef's kiss, and Levi was moving at the speed of a Discord moderator sliding on the female's DMs. Episode 40, we learn about Historia's upbringings, and find out that her mom was out here thotting around in the walls of Maria. Definitely B tier, it was a great backstory episode about Historia, and we learned that she's the daughter of Rodriguez, the royal fucktard of the family. Oh, and a thotty. Episode 41 is everywhere. The scouts are still on the run while searching for Eren and Historia. Meanwhile, Marlowe begs Levi to be part of the squad, but the plots isn't allowing it until he gets a better haircut. And Flago and Haji come up with a plan to make the military police confess for killing Flago's father. All of this, may I remind you, while Big Boss Erwin is about to receive his punishment. This one's definitely a C tier as so much is happening and it's just building up for the climax. That's what she said. Episode 42, the military pulls a Uno reverse card, and we find out that the king is literally broke bum with dementia. B tier, it wasn't action orientated, but the coup worked out brilliantly, and seeing the military branches work together was a win on its own. Episode 43, Jose Reese continues to be a dookie manipulative father, telling Historia the history of the Reese family, and how Grisha clapped his kids and wife to obtain the founding titan. B tier, there was a lot of information thrown at us, with a lot of questions answered, but a bunch of new questions left unanswered. But to be fair, that's AOT in a nutshell. Episode 44, the scouts infiltrate the hideout where Eren is being held, and Historia finally catches on to her father's lies. Another A tier episode, baby! The OST and Historia slapping that filthy hairy dookie hand away from her was so good and amazing, it literally gave me the crazy nuts busting anime face. Episode 45, Eren finally gets hard, Rodriguez turns into the crippled fetus titan, and Historia crib walks her way to join Levi's squad. C tier, it has some good character growth for not just Historia but also Eren. Episode 46, the scouts stop Rodriguez and Historia lands the finishing blow, severing off all her daddy issues along with it. Oh, and Kenny gets clapped off screen. Most definitely a B tier episode. It was a nice change of pace to finally see the scouts stop a titan from breaking down the walls. Historia did her thing, Eren did his thing, and Big Dick Erwin was the head of the whole thing. Episode 47, Historia becomes the queen and the rightful ruler of the walls. And her first action as queen is to absolutely obliterate Levi. A tier episode, baby! Historia had one of the best character developments out of everyone. Not only did she throw away that fake facade, but she became a bad bitch while doing it. She went from not knowing who she truly is, to learning about her family tree and doing things her way as she saw fit. From a fake persona to a soldier to a queen leading a nation, Historia is by far hands down the best female character developed in AOT. Ymir would be so proud she would be eating her butthole. Episode 48, we get a Shadis backstory, and find out that my boy has been cucked by Grisha, the one person he befriended, and to make matters worse, he takes L after L after L after L. I'm not usually one for side character backstories, but this episode has one of my favorite quotes of all time in anime. And seeing how Shadis tried to prevent Eren from joining the scouts to protect what remains of Carla even after her death was so touching and beautiful. Even when Carla didn't give up the vajayjay, truly chef's kiss. Definitely B tier. Episode 49, the scouts prepare themselves to take back Wa Maria and reach the basement to uncover the truth. D tier. The only reason I'm ranking it low is because I'll never forgive Wit Studio for turning me into a scared little girl with that post-credit scene. They done turned me into a little bitch. Episode 50 is probably the horniest I've ever been since the time I discovered my muscle woman fetish. From Armin finding out where the enemy is hiding to the classic AOT music that accompanied Monkey and Erwin's epic battle speech. Definitely B tier. Everything about the last 3 minutes of this episode was nutty, amazing, and crazier than an Asian parents on report card day. Episode 51, Eren and Reiner throw hands while the scouts obliterate Reiner's neck with the thunder spears. B tier. Seeing Eren and Reiner fight is always a treat. And the scouts manhandled Reiner's asshole so hard that he reverted to his other personality for a split second. Episode 52, we find out that Annie, Reiner, and Bortototo backstabbed and killed Marco. Living with that guilt, Banana finally comes out of hiding in order to save Reiner's cheeks. B tier. Although it dealt with some flashbacks, it did inform us on the death of my boy Marco, and the impact it left on Annie, Reiner, and Bortoshi. Episode 53 is a roller coaster of emotions. Erwin's blonde boss take over the courts as he leads his men straight to the big monkey to get turned into mozzarella. The episode is called Perfect Game, but I'm gonna have to call it the perfect episode S tier, baby! Do not say bye. Si la plata nana, Erwin Smith, parmese, the big pipi, de donne. In other terms, this episode is more perfect than a Popeye's chicken sandwich. Not only does Erwin Smith cement himself as the greatest man in AOT, this man can single-handedly convince me to slap the dentures off of my grandma's face. Erwin Smith is truly the Tupac of the AOT universe. Episode 54, Chadman returns as he comes up with a plan to take down Portana. We also catch a glimpse of handsome Squidward, and Marlo gets the Obito treatments, easily without a doubt. S tier, baby! Seeing how far Armin has come throughout the story, from a scared coconut head to this absolute man of a unit, was enough to make a grown man cry. And honestly, this would have been a perfect ending for Armin, dying for the homies so they could live to see another day. Our two blondies gave up everything they held dear for the sake of humanity. On that day, their balls grew 2 inches wider. Episode 55, we see the aftermath of the battle. With a burnt Armin and a crippled Erwin, Levi must choose who lives and becomes the next colossal titan. C tier, it was pretty obvious that it was going to be Armin, but seeing Eren and Mikasa fight for their boy was pretty touching. Episode 56 slaps not once, but twice. The first time was seeing Armin built like a midget Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the second time was when we find out what's inside the basement, and the truth outside the walls. Most definitely S tier. This was a breaking point in AOT. Finding out that humanity was still alive outside of the walls was a game changer in the story. Episode 57 is a big clusterfuck of information that I had to put everything on a PowerPoint slide. So please, enjoy. S tier, baby! I know some people may think it doesn't belong there, but we finally got the answers we were looking for. And in my opinion, these memories are the pinnacle point that changed Eren forever. Episode 58, Kruger finally kills this fat piece of diabetes and tells Grisha everything there is to know about the Attack Titan, and what he should do next if he wishes to free Eldians. B tier, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Episode 59, Eren unlocks all the mods after kissing Historia's hand. We all know Reiner would die to be in this place. Probably would settle for Historia's feet. The scouts also get rid of all the titans, and we finally make it to the sea, where we see Eren pointing at the sea thinking of all the lives he's going to clap. B tier episode, it was a decent finale, but I couldn't wait to see what happened next, because God only knows the fanbase was not ready for homeless Eren.